everyone, and welcome to our Woman Who Inspires series. My name is Sreshtha Tewari. I am a motivational speaker and wholeness guide, and I am completely passionate about helping women find mental freedom. The purpose of this series is to help women understand that our negative emotions, be it anger, sadness, pain, or whatever emotion you deem as negative and thinking you should not have, is actually teaching you that either you need to take some action to move somewhere in your life or learn some skill in order to move past that emotion. So in this series, we talk to successful women who have gone through these emotional battles and have healed to some extent, because healing is a continuous process. And today I am extremely happy to welcome my good friend, Bella Sukhdev. Bella is a full-time career woman. She's a part-time fitness and dance instructor, and she is also a social media influencer. She holds an international diploma in supply procurement, and when you meet her, her bubbly personality will take you over. You would not believe that she's introverted, which she actually is. And if you have seen her grown over these past few years, you will understand what a woman she has become. So welcome to our series, Bella. How are you today? And is there anything else you would like to add?
No, I think you basically covered everything in that. I'm excited to be a part of this, and I'm always open to sharing my experiences, especially with women. So I'm really thankful and grateful for the opportunity to share my story with you guys today. I hope that it's impactful to you as much as it was for me. So, yeah.
Yes, thank you so much for being here, and also for telling your story, because a lot of times people feel that people don't want to hear, but it is in sharing that we heal ourselves and also inspire other women. So Bella, I would invite you now to share your story of emotional healing with us.
Okay, good. So where do I start? I'll start from my teens, very quick, straight into adulthood. When I was a young girl, I believe it or not, I was not the most popular or most outgoing person growing up. I was actually like the I would say I was like the outcast of the circles that I was in, because I was just different from them. And I've always felt different from the circle of people that I've been exposed to growing up. And that would have started, a period in my life where I felt like I didn't belong. And that was from early teens. I felt like I was this person that didn't belong. But it just turned out that I just didn't find my tribe. So later on in life, I started dancing, and that changed my entire life. And I finally felt like I found a place where I belonged, and I found myself. And that taught me a very valuable lesson, in that sometimes when you're feeling outcasted, or you're not feeling like you belong in something, maybe that circle is just not for you. Maybe you can try something new, try something different. Thinking outside of the box kind of helps you find yourself, right? So that would have changed me and would have started to form the personality that I now call Bella, because I think that's a whole person by itself, right? So that would have started my journey as Bella as I grew into who I am today. But one of the most challenging times, I have two. One of the most challenging times in my life would have been a couple of years back, when I went through this really bad breakup. And that was my first time going through heartbreak on that level. And that changed everything about me. It changed my maturity, how I look at life, how I paid attention to myself and what I was feeling in the moment. And that actually created a ripple effect that had so much good in it, but at the same time I was in pain, right? And I think one of the most challenging things any person has to go through in life is that first heartbreak. If you've never gone through one, great. But if you have, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you can't sleep, you can't focus, work is nothing, everything feels like it's falling apart around you, and having to like pick yourself up because life goes on nevertheless, right? So that was like extremely challenging for me. However, around that time, I got a new job. My social media started to trend. I started to dance more. I started to perform. I started to be in the media a lot more. I started to get so much great opportunities, but I wasn't happy. And I felt like if nothing was right at that time. And I think that taught me the most valuable lesson I've learned from that is how is having to pay attention to what I'm feeling in that moment and not pushing it aside, but knowing that it's okay to not feel okay, but still do good things anyway, or still accept good things into your life. Because sometimes I think as people, and I would say specifically women because we are emotional beings, but people tend to see the negative things in front of them above all when you have so much good things happening around you. And I had so much good things happening to me at that time, but I didn't feel okay. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel fulfilled because I was focused on this one negative emotion that I've now let run my life. Um, but I did therapy. I recommend this to anyone. If you have a friend who is trained, a counselor, or if you can't afford therapy, do it because that would have helped me to identify what were my triggers and where my emotions are stemming from and what was the root cause of that. And that helped me in the process accept good things, and I still did it anyway. I took the job, I performed, I did all of the good things. And eventually I found that, you know, it's okay to still have joy in life if something isn't okay, or if you still don't feel right within yourself because of something. So that took my ambition. I'm a very ambitious person, and that took my ambition to a whole different level. Because now I had ambition in light of not feeling myself, in light of feeling demotivated. I still had ambition in that. So I was like, I tackled the world head on. I started to do everything possible that I could put my hands on and time to, anything that I wanted. And I think that made me find a new kind of happiness within myself and a new kind of self confidence. It also made me learn that, you know, that fulfillment that you look for in life comes from within more than it comes from the people and the things that you have around you. It comes from you feeling fulfilled or feeling satisfied with yourself and the person that you are, flaws and everything else, right? So that taught me a very valuable lesson. And it was a great ride right up until pre-pandemic when COVID started. And this, I would say, is my second biggest emotional challenge, I would say. When the pandemic started, right before the pandemic, I would say, I was in this place of, you know what, I'm living life. I'm okay. I'm working, I'm dancing, I'm doing all of these things that I like to do. Yeah, everything is not perfect, but I'm okay. I'm good. I'm happy. I'm great. Right? Um, but then the pandemic started, and everything that I was doing that made me happy was taken away. I couldn't socialize. I couldn't teach classes. I couldn't dance. I couldn't work next to my colleagues. I had to stay confined to my house. And this was the first time in my life that I had to sit with myself. Even though I would have gone through my tabanka like a couple years before, I had people around me. I had things to do. I had places to go. I had, you know, but I didn't get the chance to sit with myself. And when the pandemic started, I now had to sit with myself alone and still tackle everything that's in front of me and my responsibilities. And that was another roller coaster by itself, you know? And that, I guess, taught me a different side of myself and identifying things in me that I didn't see before. This was the first time I would have felt completely on my own challenge in life. Whereas I would have felt like I had my friends around me before. This was my first time feeling it on my own. And I think everyone in life should learn a lesson on this level in terms of how to tackle life alone, because I think if one thing the pandemic has taught us is that we have to be prepared for anything. And sometimes you're going to be alone in doing that, right? So that was, I would say, I thought that my breakup and the things that I went through the couple of years prior to that was my biggest challenge. But I realized that what I went through prepared me for what the pandemic was. Because when the pandemic started, not only I was by myself doing all of the things that I was doing, my family, my friends, they were no longer in the same position that they were in before. So I found that now I had to give support in a way that I wasn't accustomed giving support. And then I'm giving support when I don't even feel good, or I feel like I need support. So I had to learn at that point in time how to nurture and give support to my peers, to my family, to my friends, even when I didn't feel like I had it. And that gave me a new sense of appreciation for the things that I had, because I realized how blessed that I was at that time, even though nothing was perfect and the pandemic caused financial issues and battles and emotional issues and all of this that came with it. I was still very blessed in the moment to have still had my job and to have still been around my family and to have still been in a position where I can still provide support. Even though I felt like I needed it, I could have still given. And while all of this was happening, my job became toxic, my home became chaotic, my family life became chaotic because my family has a business that would have been heavily impacted by COVID as well. So everything around me was chaotic. And the only thing that I could have relied on in that moment to give me that stability that I felt I needed was myself. And if I feel like that was, even though I hated the process, I think that was one of the most rewarding life lessons I had to learn, because it helped ground me in a different way. Like, I think as human beings, we tend to ground ourselves in temporary things, in a relationship, in a place, in a thing, in an activity, right? But those things aren't permanent things. So when it falls apart, you fall apart in the process. And I'm still learning that lesson, by the way, because it's not the easiest thing. But I think doing things or kind of digging into those deeper reasons for why you are the way that you are helps you figure out what you need to do for yourself. And it helps you see that you don't find that in things or people or relationships or activities. You find that within yourself, in your mind, and in how you feed your mind and how you feed your energy and the things that are around you from the music you listen to. Like, all of this feeds into how you feel about yourself, but it really comes from within you. You feel fulfilled within you, and not because I have this great job or because I have this. But I basically say, like, it's in here more than it's out there. That's what I'm trying to say.
Wow, Bella, this story is so extremely relatable and such a testament to what finding the whole you is. Speaking about breaking up with a boyfriend, which a lot of us can relate to, especially your first love. Um, that, like for me, breaking up with my first love, I could completely relate to everything that you are saying. Is like the world keeps turning and your heart stops and you have to figure out how to continue. And like in your case, you had your friends and you had persons around you and you had activities to do because your job and the things you want to do in social media was picking up. So that helped you through working through that heartbreak, working through all of those negative emotions, which I know I don't need to explain because most women have felt that. And you speak about even though you were getting the opportunities, you were not happy and you had to pay attention to what you were feeling in the moment. And I absolutely love that you took the opportunity to go through therapy, because therapy to me, this is my personal opinion, is something that is so underutilized and something that helps you so much. For me personally as well, when I went through therapy, I understood why I behaved the way I did in relationships in my life, across so many arenas in my life. And it really gave me the clarity that I needed, as you are speaking to how much it helped you. And it's amazing too, that life lesson that you took going through that breakup and using what you have learned there going into the pandemic, which of course, as you describe, is very difficult around your family and around your job and around you not being able to do the million things that you do, because sometimes as introverts people think that all you want to do is sit in your room, which most of the time for me that's all I want to do. But there are times that I miss going out and doing something purposeful, like dancing, not the empty conversation, but the dancing, the zumbas. You all know I teach zumba, which is the same thing that Bella is speaking about. And being able to now learn how to nurture the persons around her or develop that skill, that emotional skill to help the persons around her now who would have needed her, knowing that it is okay to be not okay, but really
Yes.
looking to sit within herself, which is something I absolutely love, because a lot of us are just afraid to be us. And we are so, when we are brought up, that shame that is put on us in respect of who we are is so at the forefront of our minds that we are sometimes afraid to say, well, this is me. And I really don't like to talk to people emptily, but I like purposeful conversation. And I love that, in your journey to wholeness, because I really, this is what is coming to me as you share your story, that you are not afraid even now to say, well, you had to sit with yourself and figure out what really makes you feel fulfilled, which is something I'm also passionate about, because as women, we are pushed to look for success, not understanding that you can have success, you can have the money, you can have whatever presence it is you want to have. But if you don't deal with what is going on inside you, you don't feel fulfilled. And at the end of the day, you are not happy. So I'm really grateful for you sharing your story, Bella. It is an extremely impactful and wonderful story on wholeness, finding the whole you. I'm very grateful for you sharing it. And before we end, I will ask you if there is any message you want to share with our audience or anything you would like to tell your younger self about going through this emotional journey.
Everything you just said, one answer. This is to me telling everybody that's looking on, as well as telling my younger self. I think my biggest life lesson in everything that I've been through so far um, is it's okay to say that you're not okay and to let other people know that you're not okay, but you're still pressing on anyway. It's okay to be not okay and still do good things or still press on in life while you're not okay, right? I think as women, we are taught that we can't show weakness. We shouldn't show weakness because that shows vulnerability and that gives us an opening, it gives people an opening to come in and take advantage of us. So we must never portray that we are not okay because we must have it together. Otherwise, somebody or something is going to come in and take advantage of my life, and I'm going to be totally, I guess, handicapped is the word. I can't to whatever is happening. I can't change it. I can't do anything about it, right? So we have this wall up that I'm still learning even now in this moment of how to deal with, because I still find myself naturally putting that wall up when I'm not okay, and trying not to let people see it. But I think saying things out in the open takes away the power of what you're feeling, right? So shame, embarrassment, anger, pain, sadness, vulnerability has power as long as you keep it to yourself. Talking about it, saying it, putting it out in the open takes away the power that it has on you. Because instead of hiding it now, you're open about it. You cross that bridge, we can move on from that. And you'll find that it's much easier to deal with pain and sadness and vulnerability when you're not trying to hide it and lie to the world that you're okay, right? If you don't believe me, try it. If you're ashamed of something, go tell a bunch of friends. And now, whenever anything comes up that reminds you of that situation, your friends already know about it, so you don't really have to feel ashamed of it or feel that negative emotion towards it. So try it. If you don't believe me, let me know. But that's what I'll tell you, people, the viewers, as well as my younger self, is if you're not okay, it's okay to say it, and it's okay to feel not okay, but it's not okay to stop and think that that's the end of the world. Go anyway. Do it anyway.
Yes,
That's
wow,
my message.
I love that. I think you need to be the spokesperson for this series. That is exactly what the series is about. It's okay to be not okay. And all of the things that Bella just shared in terms of sharing your story and sharing your vulnerability. We are made to feel embarrassed by it, but the more you share and the more you speak about it, it could be in any forum, the more you will find healing and the more you will find somebody else saying, you know, I felt that same exact way. And you will feel a connection with other persons and form your
Yeah.
own bond and find your own tribe, your own growth friends who identify with your experiences. So thank you again so much, Bella, for being part of our Woman Who Inspire series. Thank you everyone for watching. And I remind you as we end to always talk with love, speak with love, and heal through compassion. Thanks, everyone. Bye.